It is time for another professional match of StarCraft 2, and what I got for you today is a Zerg vs Terran played on Ascension to IRLE. Spawning here in the southeast corner of the map, playing with the blue drones, we have Stephano. And his opponent spawning in the cross position, playing with the green Terran SCVs, he goes by the nickname of Beastyqt. Now, if you've watched professional StarCraft 2 a couple of years ago, and I know that many of you have most definitely heard of the name Stephano before. I mean, this guy is probably, even to this date, the most accomplished non-Korean StarCraft 2 player of all time, although Neep is getting awfully close at this point. Neep, of course, an absolute monster. If in just a couple of weeks Neep ends up winning, you know, the BlizzCon Grand Finals, I don't think there's gonna be much of a dispute right there anymore. But Stephano has won essentially everything that, you know, he was thrown at back in, like, you know, 2011 to 2013. The guy was an absolute monster. He polished up a lot of existing playstyles and a lot of existing Zerg strategies, like, for example, the Infestor Brute style, which he made look utterly overpowered. But he also came up with his own style and his own strategies, like, for example, the quick 3-base in the Zerg versus Protoss matchup, which is still something that we see, you know, even to this date right now. And the cool thing that I always really like about watching Stephano play is that he comes up with his own strategies. He doesn't really seem to be defining his own his own tactics and his own strategies by what other people do, but he just simply loses games and he comes up to, you know, he comes up with solutions for the problems that he runs into on his own as well. And oftentimes that results in quite a bit of a different playstyle than what is the gold standard. Now, Stephano ends up, he ended up, by the way, dominating for a couple of years, like I said. At that point, though, he made the decision to go ahead and study full-time. So he's in university full-time right now, which essentially means that turns out that you don't really have as much time anymore to play video games. But he still participates. He's still, like, easily top 8 Grandmaster on the European server. And he's still most definitely one of the best European Zerg players. The guy's really good. He plays his own styles, right? And the same can really be said for Beastyqt as well. I remember watching Beastyqt back in, like, 2010 or so. It's been some time. I think that he took a break for a couple of years too, but he's always played his own style as well, which is a lot of fun to watch. So we'll see if something like that will happen in this game as well. Now, Beastyqt actually, as of recently, he's uploading daily StarCraft 2 content to his YouTube channel as well. So if you're interested, I'll go ahead and put a link down below in the description of this video to go ahead and check that one out as well. Now, Stephano opening up with that quick Zergling speed upgrade here. Very interestingly done. Now, luckily for Beastyqt, he did decide to leave the Reaper at home, which is a very big deal. Because if these Zerglings would have been able to get in there, snipe the SCV, and then force the council on that command center, that would have been a huge deal. Now, so far, though, that first SCV will get picked off. Here's the thing, though. Zergling speed just finished up, and more Zerglings are currently making their way across the map. They're gonna try and force the council on this command center. Another SCV making its way down that ramp immediately gets picked off. And Beastyqt so far is in a little bit of trouble, but he's dealing with it well so far. The first couple of Marines are now also out now that the reactor is finished on the barracks. And it looks like for now, Stephano has managed to hold on. Now, even though he makes this look, right? Stephano is making this look, and actually another SCV dies. Stephano is making this look like it's going to be a very aggressive early game Zerg opener. In the meantime, he's established that third hatchery already. So this is what I mean, right? This is something that you don't really see a lot of players play. And actually, wow. If he gets the kill on that, well, there we go. If he gets the kill on that mule, that would be a very big deal. Beastyqt not realizing that more Zerglings were making their way across the map, decided to drop the first mule down in the low ground instead, and that's about a, you know, about a good 300 mineral kill there for the Zerg player, which essentially completely justifies this early game opener. This is already like a small example of what I mean. Stephano playing his own style. He goes for that quick Zergling speed there, delays his queens, but then goes for a super quick third base instead. So he's still going to be able to follow this up with a ton of drone production. Now, looking at that production tab right now, there is a fusion core in production here. This could be one of two things. I mean, I secretly hope that it's going to be a Battlecruiser rush. A Battlecruiser rush would be incredible. We do see that tech lab right now on the starport, but there's always the chance that he's gonna follow this up with the Liberator ranged upgrade instead, which can be very painful too. I mean, you can quite literally put like a Liberator over here and it can still reach the mineral line, which is a little bit dirty, but we'll have to keep an eye out right here on whether or not there's gonna be room for a Battlecruiser in this match, because I would personally love to see that. It's been a while since I've seen a Battlecruiser in a professional match of StarCraft 2. Beastyqt though taking air dominance here with that very first Viking. And actually, he hasn't started up any Liberator play. Also hasn't started up the upgrade. I think it's actually Battlecruiser. He's going for a Battlecruiser. What? Now here's the thing, right? If you manage to max out on Terran air units, it's very, very difficult to lose if you are the Terran player. In particular, if you mix in Battlecruisers and Ravens and whatnot, it's very difficult for a Zerg player to kill that army. However, getting to that point, it's the tricky part, right? Making your way across the map with a maxed out Terran force is gonna take you like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and you need to have a Zerg player that is sort of allowing you to do so. Now, we even see the Yamato cannon upgrade here, so I'm thinking here that Beastyqt is planning to go and play an harassment-focused Battlecruiser style. We'll have to see what happens once this very first Battlecruiser does pop out of that starport. Aliens are trying to find an angle here, not quite getting anything just yet. Very solid defense here by Stephano, not really risking anything and just going for additional queens here already. But here we go. Battlecruiser operational, right? Here we go. Well, it looks like it's almost done, but the Battlecruisers take about 4.5 years to produce each. Mechanics are hard at work, but there it is. The Battlecruiser is out, and he's immediately actually teleporting it across the map. There it is. He's putting it in the corner right here, and it looks like he's actually going to wait here for a little while. Oh, I love this. So Beastyqt knows that the starport, as well as the fusion core, are currently fully unscouted, right? Or at the very least, he knows that there's a starport out, of course, but he doesn't know about the Battlecruisers yet. He's going for the tactical jump across the map, which has a very long cooldown. And right now, he's going to fly it in, knowing that he distracted all of the queens with the Hellions here towards the northern end, towards that fourth base location of the Zerg player. I love this. Oh, Yamato cannon goes down there on that queen. It does indeed one-shot these units. And while the Spore Crawler is going to try and burrow underneath, Battlecruiser's got a ton of HP. They will not end up dying nearly as quickly. And this is forcing all of the queens to try and make their slow little legs towards that main base location, because this Battlecruiser is going to do a lot of damage. Now, actually, the Hellions and the Hellbats there managed to roast down the fourth base location of the Zerg, and so far this is working out brilliantly. This first Battlecruiser already picking up 9 kills in total, which is very nice. The Hellions and Hellbats are still making their way towards the third base. Now I wonder if he's maybe overextending just a little bit. This could be bad because the Battlecruiser was forced to leave that main base location of the Zerg player, and indeed, yeah, at this point it looks like the surround has been set up, although Zerglings are not quite committing to this engagement just yet. Very patient control here by Stephano. Really wants to let the queens do their job. And while 11 workers end up dying there in total, this is still a successful push, I think, for the Terran player. Very nicely done there. Picks up a lot of worker kills, and he is closer to maxing out, right, than he was a couple of minutes ago. Now, he will have to be careful. Tactical jump, however, off of cooldown once again. Spore Crawlers are burrowing. He does have the Yamato cannon available once again. Do it once more. Get that queen. Oh, he's actually doing it. And he jumps out of there. I love that. That's insane. Beastyqt picks up 14 kills with his very first bit of Battlecruiser harassment. And judging here by this setup, he's not going to slow down. He's not going to slow down. Look at that. There's even 2 additional starports added on here with tech labs as well. Now, so far, he's really not going to be able to do a whole lot about that just yet. He's gonna need probably about like 8 gases to properly run this. And that is kind of the trouble, right, with these kind of builds. Because right now he's shown his hand, and he's essentially committed to this hand as well. It means that Stephano is going to be able to drone up here for a little while. And while another Battlecruiser apparently jumped across the map and picked up 2 worker kills there too, he's going to be able to get a queen there too, right? And this is all fine and dandy, but at this point, the Terran player has shown his hand, and Stephano knows he's capable of doing whatever he pleases right now. There are a couple of great units that are obviously extremely powerful against Battlecruiser play, like for example, Corruptors, like for example, even like Vipers are very good against them, like Queens, like Hydralisk. Zerg does have quite a few options. However, if the Terran player manages to sit back here for a while, right, and squeezes in maybe a couple of Ravens too, get the point defense drones out, and, you know, any of these kinds of units, you can get a very, very scary composition here if you are the Terran player. However, you do ideally need 8 gases, and that's exactly what Beastyqt is trying to set up right now. Spire is currently in production here on the other side of the map. We see a lot of Zerglings going down too, so I think that Stephano is planning to maybe fight this shortly and then go for like a run by I don't know. I think that would make the most sense. But try and go for a run by here. Kill a lot of the Terran's economy. Because, of course, Terran Eco does build up rather slowly with a build like this. But so far, Stephano is not really committing to one playstyle just yet. He's just simply secured himself that 4th base. He's made a lot of queens as well, and they got a lot of solid energy here already. But this 4th base location, though, of Beastyqt, this is where it's going to be decided. I mean, he needs 8 gases. I don't think you're going to be able to properly afford, like, 3 Stargate production. Well, apparently... Or Starport production, rather. Apparently, he is starting that up right now, but I don't think you're going to be able to properly max out on this composition if you are not running at least 6 to 8 gases. But I think that 8 is going to be the magic number here. Corruptors are in the production tab. They're getting their armor upgrade, which is indeed the correct option against a fast-shooting unit, like, for example, the Battlecruiser. He's also getting himself the Hydralisk Den, and at this point, there are indeed a lot of Terran units here making their way across the map. He's adding on 3 more Battlecruisers here at once, but this is going to be quite a menacing push here. Is there really enough Zerg here to be able to deal with all of these Battlecruisers? Immediately, the Yamato cannons get activated on the Corruptors once again. They get picked off one by one. He needs to micro them back. You gotta make sure that you... Oh my god, he's gonna micro them backwards. That is so cool. One of the Battlecruisers, though, does get mis-microed, and he does not manage to keep that one alive. The next one, however, is indeed cleaned up properly, and while Beastyqt ends up losing a lot of these, heli in particular, it's all fine and dandy, and a second Battlecruiser does end up dying here too. Now, of course, these units are meant to be repaired, and he's actually getting a lot of missile turrets here too, which I like a lot. If you get the missile turrets in here, what exactly are you gonna do with the Corruptors? And the Corruptors are, however, gonna piss all over that base. Look at him. They're gonna try and nuke down that expansion, and once a couple of seconds go by, the amount of damage that corrosion spell deals is insane. And of course, it was dead in just a matter of seconds there. Kind of a crazy push there by Stephano, not committing to kill the Battlecruisers, but instead denying the economy here of the Terran, knowing that he's gonna need it. Now, we do indeed see that Corvette reactor there for the units going down here as well out of that starport. We also see the Ravens in production, which is gonna be crucial. But here we go. Terran is gonna be under a world of hurt right now, as there are a lot of Banelings and Zerglings rolling forward. So far, though, this defense has been pretty solid. Beastyqt burrowed a couple of these Widow Mines there, and he forced all of these Corruptors to back up once again. I would really like to see a focus here on repairing the weakened Battlecruisers up. Once again, though, we will be able to see some micro here, hopefully. There we go. Does manage to get those Battlecruisers on out of there, but I think that this is going to be a tricky base to secure. Stephano, realizing how he needs to play against this, he knows that if this Terran player manages to max out with a Terran army based around air units, it's going to be a very difficult thing for him to win. But all of a sudden, this is still looking pretty solid, though, for Beastyqt. Stephano is trying his best, pushing across the map, trying to make sure here that the Terran does not max out and that he does not get to that point where a lot of Ravens enter the battlefield as well. A lot of these units, though, they take a long time to produce, and you gotta keep in mind that there's very little here on the ground. Essentially, whenever there are some minerals available, Beastyqt throws up a couple of these additional Hellions and Hellbats and whatnot, but this is starting to get a little bit risky. This is starting to get a little bit scary here as well. Not enough missile turrets here just yet. I don't think there's going to be enough missile turrets here just yet. He's desperately trying to produce more and more of them, though. Corruptors are getting in position right now. There's Hydralisk here, too. Planetary Fortress, however, is not done just yet. And I think that Stephano wants to push before the Planetary Fortress finishes up. Once again, though, Yamato cannons going down immediately on top of all of those Corruptors. So many end up taking crucial amounts of damage. But there are a lot of Zerg units here available at this point, though. Once again, microing them backwards, trying to make the most of that situation. But Stephano playing it out brilliantly. He ends up obtaining that victory with relative ease as soon as he scouted exactly what was going on. But I wonder, though, what would have happened if, you know, Beastyqt did not end up mis-microing the essential or the initial engagement, right? When he first pushed across the map with like 4 or 5 Battlecruisers, he ended up losing 2 of them. Every single one of those Battlecruisers counts because they take so long to produce. You gotta try your best to keep them alive for as long as possible. And Stephano there, playing it out smartly, not over-droning, just simply going up to like 75-ish workers. And then, you know, flooding the map, trying to produce as many units as he can that counter that army of the Terran to prevent the max Terran army from appearing on the battlefield. Playing that out very smartly. I like that game a lot. I hope you did as well. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as the next videos go live. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.